Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going to Aurora, Colorado, where a seemingly perfect family was hiding a dark secret. Just imagine a loving couple, James and Angela Craig, with 6 wonderful kids active in their community, living the American dream. But behind this picture-perfect facade, something sinister was brewing.
What's so captivating about this case is how quickly things unraveled. It all started in March 2023, with Angela experiencing some pretty common symptoms: dizziness, weakness, blurred vision, the kind of stuff we all brush off as a passing bug.
Yeah, totally relatable, right?
Yeah.
But for Angela, these seemingly minor ailments were just the beginning of a nightmare. On March 6th, she ended up in the ER. But doctors couldn't find anything wrong and sent her home. Can you imagine the frustration?
Absolutely, especially when her symptoms came back with a vengeance just 24 hours later. This time, she was rushed to a different hospital, Parker Adventist. But even then, doctors were baffled. They couldn't figure out what was causing her rapid decline.
And here's where things get really unsettling. While Angela was going through this medical mystery, her husband, James, a dentist,
My name is Dr. Jim Craig, and I practice at Summerbrook Dental Group.
was sending her loving text messages, playing the role of the concerned husband. But behind this facade, something far more sinister was taking place.
One detail that really stands out is James's habit of making Angela protein shakes every morning. Looking back, this seemingly innocent routine takes on a whole new meaning when you consider the possibility of poison.
It's like a scene straight out of a thriller.
Right. But the scariest part is this was real life, and even after this second hospital visit, doctors still couldn't figure out what was wrong. They released Angela again on March 14th, but her condition just kept getting worse.
It's heartbreaking to think about what Angela must have been going through. Just imagine the fear and confusion, not knowing what was happening to your own body. And just a day later, on March 15th, she was rushed back to the hospital, this time to University Hospital, in even worse shape than before. But just before this final hospitalization, something happened that would change everything. A package arrived at James's dental office, addressed to him, and it was labeled potassium cyanide.
Wow. That's a major red flag. Potassium cyanide is incredibly lethal. What would a dentist need that for? It's certainly not something you'd find in your typical dental toolkit.
Exactly. And thankfully, James's business partner, Ryan Redfern, stumbled upon this package and immediately realized something was terribly wrong. I mean, wouldn't you be suspicious? He contacted the hospital staff right away, worried that James might be involved in Angela's mysterious illness.
Ryan's quick thinking was crucial in this case. He was the one who cracked the case wide open. And as investigators started digging, they uncovered even more disturbing details.
Like the panic text message James sent to Ryan, begging him not to talk to the police. He even said, "You will do more damage than good to my family by continuing to insert yourself into this." It's pretty clear he's trying to cover his tracks.
That's definitely not something an innocent person would do. And sadly, on March 18th, Angela passed away. Just hours later, James was arrested and charged with her murder.
It was a shocking turn of events for a seemingly perfect family. And as the investigation unfolded, the evidence against James just kept piling up. The autopsy revealed that Angela had lethal levels of cyanide in her system. But that wasn't all.
They also found traces of tetrahydrozoline, a chemical found in eye drops, and arsenic. This wasn't just a simple poisoning. It seemed like a calculated plan using multiple substances to make Angela sick.
And it gets even more disturbing. Investigators uncovered a secret email account that James created using the name Jim and Waffles. Guess what he was using it for?
Let me guess. Researching poisons and how to make someone sick without being detected.
You got it. He was actively searching for ways to harm someone without getting caught. It's chilling to think about the level of premeditation involved.
The fact that he had a separate email account specifically for this purpose shows he was trying to hide his actions. He knew what he was doing was wrong.
And remember the arsenic they found in Angela's system? Well, investigators traced that back to a purchase James made online. It was delivered right to his mailbox.
So we have the poisons in Angela's system, a secret email account used to research poisons, and a purchase of arsenic traced back to James. The evidence was mounting against him. But there was still more to uncover.
Like a potential motive. Remember how I mentioned that James was a dentist? Well, he had attended a dental conference in Las Vegas shortly before Angela started getting sick. And guess what? He met another dentist there, an orthodontist named Corinne Kane, and they started an affair.
Ah, the classic love triangle. A tale as old as time, and unfortunately, often a breeding ground for trouble.
And of course, James lied to Corinne, telling her he was separated from Angela and living in an apartment.
Adding another layer of deception to the mix, he was living a double life. spinning a web of lies to get what he wanted.
But there was more to it than just an affair. James's dental practice was struggling financially, and prosecutors believed he might have been after Angela's life insurance money.
Financial problems, an affair, and a possible life insurance payout. Those are some pretty strong motives.
Right. It paints a pretty damning picture. But the defense had a different story to tell. They argued that James's interest in poisons wasn't about harming Angela, but rather about his own struggles with depression.
They claimed he was suicidal,
Yeah.
and that all the research he did was for himself.
Yeah. But the prosecution wasn't buying it. They presented evidence that James had gone to great lengths to cover up his actions. And then there was that disturbing detail about the increasing levels of cyanide in Angela's system while she was hospitalized.
That definitely raises some questions. Was he potentially poisoning her even while she was under medical care?
It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? But that's not all. Remember that incident years earlier when James claimed he drugged Angela to prevent her from interfering with his suicide attempt?
Yeah, that was a pretty shocking detail. But the defense argued that this incident explained why Angela texted James saying, "I feel drugged," when she first started feeling sick.
Right, and they highlighted James's response. Given our history, I know that must be triggering. Just for the record, I didn't drug you. The defense suggested this exchange supported their theory that James's interest in poison stemmed from his own suicidal tendencies.
They were trying to build a narrative around mental illness and a troubled past to explain away his actions.
But the prosecution argued that James was a manipulative husband who was deliberately trying to frame Angela for suicide. They pointed to his attempts to get fellow inmates to create fake evidence, further proving his desperation to avoid consequences.
It definitely seems like he was willing to go to great lengths to protect himself, even if it meant blaming his deceased wife.
Exactly. It's a tangled web of deceit, and it's hard to know what to believe. But one thing's for sure, the evidence against James was pretty strong.
So we're left with this question. Was James truly a cold-blooded killer, or was he a troubled soul caught in a web of his own making?
The trial was basically a battle of narratives, right? The prosecution presented James as this cunning manipulator who wanted Angela out of the picture, while the defense tried to paint him as a deeply troubled individual struggling with his own demons.
And both sides had compelling arguments. Remember how no trace of poison was ever found in the protein shakes or protein powder from the Craig house?
That was a big point for the defense. If James was poisoning Angela through her shakes, you'd expect to find some evidence, wouldn't you?
Right. It definitely poked some holes in the prosecution's theory, and the defense didn't stop there. They also argued that the police rushed to judgment, basically arresting James based on circumstantial evidence without properly exploring other possibilities.
They claimed that the police were so focused on the poisoning angle that they didn't even consider things like natural causes, or maybe even suicide.
But the prosecution had a pretty strong counter to that. They brought up James's attempts to obstruct justice, like that text he sent to Ryan begging him not to talk to the police. And let's not forget about that whole hitman situation.
Oh yeah, that was a big one, apparently. James tried to hire a hitman to kill the detective who was investigating him.
While he was behind bars. Imagine the audacity of that.
That definitely doesn't look good for someone claiming innocence. It makes you question his motives and his overall character.
It really does. I mean, wouldn't you cooperate with the police if you were truly innocent?
You'd think so, right? It seems like he was desperate to cover his tracks and silence anyone who might expose him.
So the jury had a tough job. They had to weigh all this evidence and decide which narrative was more believable. Was James a cold and calculating killer? Or was he a desperate man driven to extreme measures by his own personal struggles?
And ultimately, the jury sided with the prosecution. They found James Craig guilty of first-degree murder.
It was a pretty stunning outcome, considering he had always maintained his innocence. And the judge sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
So justice was served for Angela, but it doesn't bring her back.
Right. It's a tragic ending to a story that started with so much promise. But it also highlights the dark side of human nature and the lengths some people will go to for love, money, or even just to escape their own inner demons.
It's a reminder that we never truly know what's going on behind closed doors, even in those picture-perfect families. And it also raises some important questions about mental health and how we as a society deal with those who are struggling.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in our own lives and not notice when someone is hurting. But reaching out and offering support can make a world of difference.
And if you're struggling yourself, please know that you're not alone. There are resources available to help. Don't be afraid to reach out.
That's so important. Seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
But this case wasn't just about mental health. It was also about betrayal, greed, and the devastating consequences of unchecked ambition.
James was willing to risk everything for a new life, even if it meant taking another person's life. It's a chilling reminder of the darkness that can exist within seemingly ordinary people.
And even though the trial is over, the case still leaves us with many unanswered questions. What was truly going through James's mind? Did he ever feel remorse for his actions? And how did his children cope with the loss of their mother and the realization that their father was responsible?
These are questions that will likely haunt those involved for years to come. It's a tragedy that has left deep scars on the entire community.
This case has definitely left its mark on me. It's a story I won't soon forget.
Me too. It's a stark reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and that even the most seemingly perfect lives can be hiding dark secrets.
And that's exactly what makes true crime so compelling. It forces us to confront the complexities of human nature and grapple with the darker aspects of our world.
It's a way to explore the boundaries of good and evil, and to try to understand what drives people to commit such horrific acts.
And while it can be disturbing and unsettling, it's also a way to learn from the mistakes of others and to appreciate the fragility of life.
Absolutely. Every case we cover is a story, and every story has lessons to teach us.
So as we wrap up this episode, we want to leave you with this. How well do you really know the people in your life? And what are you doing to ensure your own well-being and the well-being of those you love?
It's a thought-provoking question, and one that we should all ask ourselves from time to time.
And remember, if you or someone you know is struggling, there are resources available to help. You don't have to face your demons alone.
That's so important. There's no shame in asking for help. It's actually a sign of strength and courage.
This has been a heavy episode, but I think it's important to have these conversations. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope. We've been dissecting this incredibly complex case, a case that gripped the nation with its twists and turns. Where do we even begin to unpack the aftermath?
I think the most important thing to remember is that there are real people affected by this tragedy. Angela's family and friends are left picking up the pieces, trying to heal from this unimaginable loss.
It's heartbreaking to think about the impact this has had on their lives, especially Angela's 6 children, who lost both their mother and, in a sense, their father on that fateful day.
Their lives are forever changed. They're left grappling with the loss of their mother and the horrifying realization that their father is responsible. The emotional toll must be immeasurable.
And let's not forget about the community as a whole. This case shook the town of Aurora to its core. It shattered the illusion of safety and security that many people held dear.
It's a stark reminder that these kinds of tragedies can happen anywhere, even in seemingly idyllic suburban communities.
Absolutely. And it forces us to confront the reality that evil can lurk in unexpected places, even behind the facade of a perfect family.
This case also sparked a broader conversation about domestic violence and the warning signs that are often overlooked.
It's so important to be aware of those red flags, both for ourselves and for those around us. Things like controlling behavior, isolation from friends and family, and a history of emotional or physical abuse.
Recognizing these patterns can be life-saving. If you or someone you know is experiencing any of these things, please reach out for help. There are resources available, and you don't have to suffer in silence.
And on a legal level, the James Craig case set a precedent for how digital evidence is used in criminal investigations. Remember those incriminating text messages and that secret email account?
Yeah. That digital trail played a huge role in securing his conviction. It showed premeditation and intent, which were crucial elements in proving first-degree murder.
It's fascinating how technology has become such an integral part of criminal investigations. It's like a digital fingerprint that can reveal a suspect's true intentions.
It's a double-edged sword, though, right?
Yeah.
On the one hand, it can help bring criminals to justice. But on the other hand, it raises privacy concerns and questions about how much access law enforcement should have to our digital lives.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something we need to be talking about as technology continues to evolve.
And as we wrap up this episode, I think it's important to acknowledge the bravery of those who came forward to testify against James. People like Ryan Redfern, his business partner who discovered the cyanide and alerted the authorities.
His actions were incredibly courageous, and they ultimately played a key role in bringing James to justice.
It's a reminder that we all have a responsibility to speak up when we see something wrong, even if it's uncomfortable or puts us at risk.
It's about doing the right thing, even when it's hard, and sometimes that can make all the difference.
This case had so many layers, so much darkness and deception, but it also showcased the power of truth, justice, and the resilience of the human spirit.
It's a reminder that even in the face of tragedy, there is always hope. Hope for healing, hope for accountability, and hope for a future where these kinds of horrific events are less likely to occur.
And while we may never fully understand the motivations behind such a heinous crime, we can learn from it, grow from it, and work together to create a safer world for ourselves and for future generations.
Thanks for joining us on this look into the James Craig case. It's been a heavy but important conversation.
If you'd like to learn more about this case or other true crime stories, be sure to check out our website and follow us on social media.
And as always, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this case? What lessons did you take away from it? Share your comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channels on Spotify and YouTube. See you next time.